So I'm going to start the recording. Looks like I said, we just got a couple of us right now, which is really probably very beneficial for you guys. We'll get out, early. I don't want to hold everybody. If we can get, through the content, we get through the content, right? So what we're going to do today is we're going to explore the family editor. And that's, what you did your BIM technology focus on. So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to build a table tonight, but we're not just going to build a table. We're going to build a table that is completely based on parametric parameters. And what that means is the table is going to be able to be used as a coffee table, right? Nice and short, 2 feet long, maybe 4 feet wide. Maybe we want to use it for an end table, right? Little 18-inch by 18-inch table, by your bed, right? Maybe you want to use it as a dining table or a great hall table. It's going to be able to be completely adjustable based on whatever we want to do. So it's going to be pretty cool. We have a lot of lines to draw tonight. They're going to be called reference planes. So we're going to get into that. Reference planes, dimensioning, and locking our dimensions. So it's going to be a lot of little steps. Okay. But this ultimately is probably by far the most rewarding of all the lectures, just because you really get to understand how a family works. And for me, like, I build all of my families, right, for my job. And we just hired a lighting guy that I'm training to build some families to take off my hands for me. So kind of outsource that within our company, which would be nice to get that off my plate. Because right now I build lighting fixtures and stuff for every single job, depending on what it is, because every job is different. So depending on what it is, it's maybe, 20 fixtures for a core and shell package, and maybe 150 for a TI package, depending on what we're dealing with. So we're not building fixtures. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to build a table, but the concepts that you're going to learn tonight are how all of the good Revit families are built, right? We can build them and not make them parametric and make them so they are just a static block, right? A 2x2 block, and we throw that in, whatever. Yeah. But a lot of the really good families are built with one family that's able to stretch and flex and do all of these bells and whistles within the thing. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. So you guys ready to get started? Have some fun? We'll probably just no break tonight. We'll just power through it and see where we end up. I'm probably going to go kind of quick tonight because we got three of you guys that seem to know what you're doing, at least for the most part. Whatever, right? We can. So again, if I'm going too fast, please chime in, say something, right? But I'd like to be able to try to cover like 3 hours, maybe like 4 or 5 hours worth of material tonight in a short amount of time. But with just the 3 of you, like one-on-one, I can probably do this typically in about an hour. So 3 of us, we should be maybe hour and a half. See? So we'll get going. So I'm going to share my screen, and I don't know what happened to Ray, and I'm sorry. I sent him an email and I don't think he knows. I don't know what to do. We were in the other meeting. But I'm not going to jump back into there. So I don't know what happened. All right, let's go ahead and I will share my screen. I'll just share this guy. And if you guys don't want to have your cameras, I don't care tonight. I mean, whatever, it's just a few of us. To be honest, it's going to keep the video size down. It doesn't matter, whatever you guys want to do. I'll leave mine on, but you don't have to have yours tonight. So can you see my screen? This guy up here? All right.
Yep.
Cool. So here we are. And all I have done is gone to Revit 2020 and opened it up, and I'm on the splash screen. So why don't we go ahead and I guess I can do that again, right? I will minimize this job. Sorry. Just clear out the
All
rest.
the jobs.
Clear out all my stuff that I'm working on right now because I don't shut my stuff because the next morning it takes me a half an hour to reopen everything.
Are you curious? Are you still working from home?
Depends. I work from home a day, from the office a day, from the site a day, back to the office, back to home. So I'm all.
Gotcha. Right on.
So open Revit 2022. And we'll be right here. So from here, we're gonna go ahead and I don't care if let's just go ahead, hit the back button. We'll go file, new, and instead of going project, we're gonna go to family. We're gonna build a new family. All right, so it's gonna bring you into some family templates. Does everyone have a screen that looks like this?
Yep.
Cool. So let's go open up English Imperial. And then let's go ahead and we're just gonna make, I guess we can build a piece of furniture. But sure, we'll build a piece of furniture. Why not? Essentially, all of these are the same template. It just has a category in it that will sort it into a different category within Revit. So we're building.
Which one did you pick?
Go ahead.
Which one did you pick? Furniture?
I picked the furniture.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right. So we're gonna start here, and we've got two reference levels, one under floor plan and one under ceiling plan. Let's go ahead and minimize this one under ceiling plan. We're not gonna be using that. This is not, this really refers to something that is by default, 7 feet or higher. So everything that we're building is going to be from like 0 to maybe 4 feet high if we build a crazy tall table, right? But we're not going to be building something above 7 feet. This is more for light fixtures that are hosted to the ceilings, and we're not even going to do anything like that either. So let's go ahead and just close it. And we're going to be working in the reference level. So if I say plan view or reference level, this is the floor plan I'm talking about. And then we're going to be looking at elevations as well. So it'll be we're going to be using front and we'll be using left. So front and left will be our two that we use. But other than that, we'll use 3D just to take a look, but we're not going to actually do any work in our 3D view. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and go to our floor plan view. And I am going to teach you guys one shortcut for tonight. It's going to be very, 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 very beneficial if you use this instead of coming up here every time. So we're going to be using what's called reference planes. It's up here in our create, in the ribbon, in the create over here in the datum, and we can create a reference plane. I use the RP shortcut on your keyboard. Hey, David showed up. Welcome, David. I guess I'm going to hold off for like 30 seconds. We'll get him up to speed and then we'll continue on. Hey, David.
Hey, Graham, how you doing?
Oh, doing good. So you haven't missed much, but you just missed opening a Revit family. So we're going to create a new family tonight. So if you want to just go open your Revit 2022, and I'll just open this up again. I'll just do a second session real quick.
Oh, I know how to get to the families. What's the name of the family?
We want to create a new family. Well, I'll just walk you through it just to make sure. Just because we're going to create one from a template.
Okay. There's actually more people that showed up than I thought.
Yeah, me too. So we'll hit this hit this back button. We'll go File, New, Family. And it will bring you to this Family Templates screen.
Oh, okay, I see.
We're going to go to the English Imperial. And we're going to scroll down and we're going to create a new furniture family. Go
Okay.
ahead and click open, and that's exactly where we're at.
I'm still waiting for Revit to open. You could
Okay.
go back to that. It's just file, new, open, and then open up families instead of projects.
New family from template, and
Yeah,
then
English Imperial and,
English
Okay,
Imperial, then
furniture.
furniture. Yep.
okay, thank you.
All right. So what I was saying, tonight we're going to be using reference planes as our main skeleton. Okay. So I want to take a step and take a look at a family. And I use this analogy every time I teach this. And I think it's really the only analogy that really makes sense and gets people to grasp this easily. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be building a framework made of reference planes. And that's going to act as our skeleton. Chat, someone. Oh, perfect. Thanks, Stephanie, for posting that there. Cool. So we're going to make a skeleton of reference planes. And once we build a skeleton of reference planes, we're going to build some dimensions and set some parameters to those dimensions to build our muscles. So ultimately, we're going to have a skeleton that will have these planes that are able to move left and right, up and down, and stretch and flex. And when the plane moves, the geometry that we're going to build, we're going to lock it to the plane. And then so when the plane moves, the geometry will move with it. So I'm sure that's a lot. We'll see what happens. So let's go ahead and we're going to draw. I want to start by just drawing 2 vertical reference planes. So you can use your reference plane and draw one to the left-hand side from the top to the bottom. And then we'll do one to the right-hand side. It doesn't really matter how far apart they are right now. And while we're in the command, let's go ahead and draw one more horizontally above our origin and one more below. So we should have a grid that looks something like this.
Okay, I am so sorry. Sorry, I was just communicating with Kindle. What was the command?
So RP or reference or create reference plane.
Okay.
And we're going to draw one to the left of the center one to the right, one to the top of the middle one to the bottom of the middle one.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right. So once we've got those set, I want to go ahead and take a dimension line, a line dimensions, a DI on our keyboard. And I want a dimension from the left line to the middle line to the right line. And go ahead and set that dimension. And then I want you to hit this lovely equals button, right? We talked about that last week with the equals. So go ahead and set that equals distance to each other. And then let's do the same with the top, middle, and bottom. And we'll set that equals to each other. Hit escape. Everyone with me so far? Cool. All right. If Diego gets it, he's the only one that's sharing a screen. So if I get a thumbs up from him, I'm just going to keep rolling. So speak up if you are.
Yeah, real quick. I'm missing my equals. I don't know why.
So did you click equals?
I don't even have the EQ.
Click the dimension.
Yep.
and then click the little equals button. Did you dimension 3 lines?
So Graham, does the equal button
Yeah.
work if
Wait,
you
hang on.
do,
Good question.
if you dimension one at a time instead of doing a continuous? The equal
No, it
doesn't
will
work
not
at all,
work
does it?
because there's only 2 lines. There's nothing to set equal to. You need to make sure that you're doing a string across. That's why from the left to the middle to the right, not just from the left to the middle and then from the middle to the right. Does that make sense? So let's go ahead and step back. We'll do this again.
I got it now.
Cool. Kendall's here.
Oh.
All right. So we went ahead and if you look at the chat, Stephanie was kind enough to give you some instructions there. So you're going to open up Revit. We'll hit that back button on the splash screen and then go new, family. You'll go to the English Imperial folder, then to the furniture template, and then you'll open that up. So if you want me to go through it, I can, but if you can look at the chat and see that and get there, cool. David, yours all open up?
No, mine's like freezing. I think I have to close down Revit and I gotta wait for it to respond or close before it'll open back up. So I'm just watching what you're doing.
Okay, is there, and this is recording, so, I mean, you can always come back and do it again if you get stuck. Is there something in the background? Just make sure that there's not a pop-up or hover your mouse over the Revit icon. Make sure there's nothing in the background or a pop-up that is preventing it from continuing. Sometimes that'll happen and you'll be waiting and waiting and waiting and you're like, what the heck is going on? And then realize, oh, it's actually waiting for me.
It was taking too long to open up and I clicked it like 4 times. So I had like 4 or 5.
Oh,
things
so
at
you're one of
once.
those impatient ones. I got you.
Yeah, my computer's going slower. I'm kind of want my prime now kind of thing. you know?
Gotcha. Sweet. Well, anyhow, we'll see you when you get there.
All right.
All right, cool. So, Kendall, are you in? Cool. There you go. Stephanie already gave you your next instruction. So we're going to draw a reference plane. So yours probably started, and I'll just come back. Yours started looking like this. We're on the floor plan reference plane or reference level, right? In the floor plan. And we're going to draw a reference plane to the left of this line. One to the right of the middle line. One to the top from left to right, and one to the bottom, and creates a grid that looks something like that. Once we have created this grid, let's go ahead and dimension it. And we're going to dimension from the left-hand side to the middle to the right-hand side. All of this in a single string. Set it and click the equals button. Same thing going in the vertical direction. Set it and click the equals button. And now we are here. Does everyone have something that looks like this? I don't care how far apart these are right now. Okay, we'll get all of that under control. Cool. All right, so let's start by building something easy. Okay, we're just going to build the very beginning of our table, and we're just going to build the tabletop. Okay, we'll come back and right now we're going to build a tabletop and we're going to put it on the floor and we're going to be happy about it because everyone's going to get excited because it'll work and it's going to be cool. So we will then add legs, elevate it, do all of that jazz further down the line tonight. So let's go ahead. We've got our 2 sets of reference planes, one vertical, one horizontal, right? We've got them set to equals right now. Let's do 2 more dimensions. And this time we're going to go from the very left line to the very right line. So dimension from the left line to the right line. And then we're gonna do from the top line to the bottom line. Okay. And typically I like to stay organized with my stuff. So typically I'll keep the equals on the inside and the 5/8 on the outside. That way I don't have any lines that are going through the middle of them. But you absolutely need both of these dimensions. Without both of them, this will not work. Yeah. All right. Has everyone got that? Thumbs up. Cool. All right. So let's go ahead and click this top dimension. And again, I don't care what it is right now. It can be 10 inches between them. It could be 10 feet, whatever. We will set it all and make it right now. So let's go ahead and click this top dimension here. And you'll notice when this pops up, when I click it, we get our modify dimensions tab comes up, right? We get this nice, lovely light green ribbon. And over here, we've got something that says label. And it says label and it has a none right here. And you click the drop down and there's nothing there. Default elevation. That doesn't do us any good. So what we want to do is we want to create a parameter. Okay. So we're going to create a parameter. And we're just going to create a family parameter right now. We can talk about shared and family parameters a little bit later, but for now, we're just going to use a family parameter. Ultimately, the difference is right now, a family parameter is just dealing with what's available to us right now. We're going to build maybe a couple different parameters and put them in this family. A shared parameter, I have 400 to 500, maybe 700 or 800. I've got no idea anymore. Parameter is located in a file that's offsite that shares between project to project, that when you use a shared parameter, you can do some extra scheduling and that kind of stuff. We're not going to worry about it tonight. We're just going to do a family parameter and we're going to make it type based. All the parameters we're going to build tonight are going to be type based. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
How do you get to the parameter?
How do I get here?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go ahead and click on your top dimension. We always want to click on the dimensions that we're going to be setting or giving a parameter to are going to be the ones that stretch the entire width, not the ones that are set to equal. The equal ones are going to just help control it so that every movement revolves around center. So that way, when you stretch and you flex your table, that the center of it is always in the same spot. Otherwise, it can move way to the right or way to the left or move all over the place. So this is what we're going to be using. So let's use it. Click the outside dimension or the top one. And we're going to come up here and click this little button here that says create parameter. And then this will pop up. All right. So we're going to create a family parameter and we're going to create type parameter. And we're going to create dimension parameters. Okay. It automatically is going to group it under a dimension because we are building the parameter from a dimension. So it kind of inherits some properties to begin with. All right. So what do we want to name this parameter? This is going to control I would say the length of our table. Okay, or the width of our table. We can call this width. We can call it length. What do you guys want to call it?
Width.
Width. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to call this table width. Okay, make it a type parameter and keep it as dimension. Okay. Go ahead and click OK when you're done with that. And you can just leave it right now with whatever dimension you want is still in there, right? Whatever it was started with. This started with 5/8. Let's do the same thing with the one on the left-hand side. Let's go ahead and click on that dimension. We're going to create a parameter, and we're going to call this table depth. Again, we're creating a family parameter type dimension. Those should all be the default, but just to double check them. All right. Everyone got something that looks like that?
Yes.
Cool. So just so we're all on the same page and everyone is looking the exact same to begin with, let's go ahead and come up here to these family types. I will also refer to this as the 4 blue boxes. Okay. So when I say family types, a lot of people are like, where is that? I just call it the 4 blue boxes. So that's right here. And you'll notice the dimensions or the parameters that we just built are now here under our dimensions. So let's go ahead and have everything set to 6 feet for a depth and 6 feet for a width, and click apply. And you should notice that all of your lines should move a little bit. Did everyone's lines move? Anyone's equals didn't work, or does everyone's look just like this?
The first time I did it, it had the depth, the one that you did, the depth had changed. I wasn't sure what happened. I'm trying it again to see if there was something I did wrong.
Okay, so make sure that we've got the equals from the top, middle, bottom, and then the depth from the bottom to the top. And then we'll set that. If you haven't built the parameter, you can come back here, create a new parameter for table depth. If you have built the parameter, you can come back to the 4 blue boxes. And this is where we can see the table depth. And if we click this pencil, we actually get back to the original parameter properties that we started with.
I had an extra line in there, my dimension clicked off of, so I had to delete
Perfect.
that line and redimension the equals, but then it
Perfect. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead.
So no, mine did not do that.
Okay.
It did give the table depth and width the 6 foot, but my it's not equivalent between the two.
Okay. So is there a equals dimension between?
They were equal, and then when I did that, it changed to a random number.
Okay. So let's go ahead here. I'll have you share your screen real quick. And then sometimes this is good because like other people will have the same issue.
Okay.
So
it did that.
Perfect.
But then these changed.
Okay. Go ahead and click back on there on the inside dimension, the one that's not equal, and go set it to equals.
But then
Okay.
change that.
Same
Okay.
thing with your other one.
Okay.
Okay. You should be good now. Something happened where they didn't get fully locked, but now go ahead.
So I need to lock these then?
No,
wait.
don't lock those. Did you lock your other one?
No. I did
Okay,
not.
so go ahead and click into that table depth. Click where that 7. You don't have to go to the properties.
one?
You can actually just click right in where it says 7'2". You can click right into there. Just type in 8 feet or 6 feet. 6. Just hit enter. What happens? Perfect. So that one works right. Okay. Now let's do that one. That works.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Not sure what I did weird there, but okay.
Let's make sure it works again. Let's move it. Let's do this. Let's go to your properties now and change it from here. So change it back to like 5 feet on both of them and then click apply. Okay, you're good. Looks perfect. So
Okay. So I'm wondering, so what I did do was I had changed the EQ to the actual dimension. Would that
no,
have been the reason?
that's what happened then.
Okay.
You don't want to mess with that EQ. You just want to let it do its thing.
Gotcha.
You don't want to set it equal to anything because now, right, what you were doing is you were setting that dimension in there saying that this is static. And we want that to be whatever the table width is divided by 2, right?
Okay. So I'm gonna change it back to 6.
Go ahead and change
Okay.
back to 6 and we'll, yep. But yeah, it
I'll
works
stop
just
sharing.
fine.
Okay, got it. Don't do that.
Yeah, leave those, leave your equals alone again. So when you
Okay.
set equals, left, middle, right, set the equals, and then you're done with it. Don't do anything else. All right. So there's a couple ways to do this. And after 3 years, after 2 years of trying to do it one way, which is the way that I typically would do it, but it's a little faster, but a little bit more complicated. I guess it's a little simpler, but in the long run, everyone ends up having problems. I deal with a lot more problems. So we're going to go the longer method, but everyone ends up getting it the first time. So we'll go that route. So we're going to go to create, and we're going to create an extrusion. And we're going to create this rectangle. So what I want to do is I want to create, and right now it's offset is at 0, and it's going to 1 foot of my depth. So what that's saying is I'm building an extrusion from 0 to 12 inches off my reference plane, off my center of my floor plan, right? And that's fine. Let's go ahead and just keep that right there at 1 foot. I don't care to change it. Okay. So I'll just let you know that's what that's doing. And then this offset is where it's starting the extrusion. So let's go ahead and just build a square or rectangle inside of your other lines. And come up here and click the checkbox. This nice big green check. All right, so
please.
Go ahead.
Can you redo it, please?
Sure. So let's go ahead and go to the Create tab. We're going to create an extrusion. We're going to come and click this little rectangle button. And we're going to create an extrusion on the inside of our, on the inside of our exterior reference planes. So something like that. And hit the checkbox or the check mark. All right. So this next step is super important. This is why we're doing it this way instead of the way that I would typically do, which would be snap these automatically to these reference planes. So what I want to do is use our align button or our AL on our keyboard. And we're going to click this top reference plane. And we're then going to click the top line of our geometry. Now, when I click this next line, it's going to snap this line to the first one, just like we normally do. But I also want to make sure that I click this lock right here. What that's doing is it's going to lock my geometry to this framework, right? So this is my skeleton. This up here is my muscles. It's allowing it to move. And now this is my whole body that's going to be able to move and grow with that skeleton, right? So align and lock, we're going to align and lock all of the planes on the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and hit escape real quick, back up. We'll start the command again. So align, we're going to click the top reference plane to the top of our extrusion, lock it. The right reference plane to the right. I'm going to hit escape. I just want to make sure that everybody, if you hit a line on your keyboard, make sure that this multiple alignment up here in the corner is off. We don't want that checked for this. Okay. If it's on, the next step won't work. You won't be able to continue aligning things. So we're not going to keep anything multiple aligned tonight. That was our last thing that we did last week. Right, is when we multiple aligned all of those TV stands in the middle of the room. Revit remembers, okay? So if you use that, like I said that night, if you use it, I typically will try to turn it off after I'm done. However, if you don't turn it off, it'll come back for you. So just make sure that's off when you're aligning and locking. All right.
Align first and lock after.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to align. You choose where you want to align, then what you want to align, and then lock it. Where you want to align, what you want to align, and lock. Where, what, and lock. Where you want to align, what you want to align, and lock. Okay? And then when you're done doing all 4 sides, hit escape. Okay? So let's go and see if that worked. Let's go to our 3D view and click like the corner of your view cube up here. Okay, and you should have something that looks something like this. And if we go to our 4 blue boxes, let's go ahead and change the type properties to, I don't know, 3 feet by 3 feet. Hit apply and see what happens to that geometry. Stephanie, was that a bad surprise?
Yeah, it does not look like that.
Go ahead and share your screen. I want to see.
I don't understand.
That's fine. That's why we're in this together. It's a learning process, and tonight's, like I said, it's you're fine.
I didn't realize I made such a reaction.
You're fine. Look, go up to the 3D cube.
What did I do?
The right
Okay.
cube on the very right. Yep.
Oh, here.
Just click the top corner. Click a corner up the, like, yeah, there you go. A corner.
Oh, there we go.
Click,
Okay.
click an actual corner, like the top corner.
Trying.
There you go.
Okay.
Hey, don't worry, Stephanie. You could always watch the recording to see your reaction.
Yeah, right? Perfect.
Yeah, great. I should have turned off my video. No, it's just like, whoa, that was not right. Okay. So I'm not totally off. We're good.
No, you're good. So then hit the 4 blue boxes and see if it shrinks. Drop it down to 3 feet on both of those. Hit apply. Bingo. Awesome. All right.
Okay.
I'll take the screen again. Thank you.
We're good.
Yeah. It was like, oh, wow. It's like, I didn't know if you were that surprised. It was like, oh man, it shrunk. Or if it was.
No, I was like, this is not what it's supposed to look like. Oh.
Graham,
All
what would
right.
happen if we had the multiple the line?
What would
Check.
happen?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to align your next alignment. You'd have to exit the command every time you wanted to align the next reference plane because it's
Because it
not in
always
the
has
same.
to
Yep,
move
I
whatever you
figured
click
that.
on to the next first line that you pick.
Huh? Say that again.
So you always have to pick what you wanted to move to first. So if you had the multiple align tool and you click the top dash line and then or the reference plane and you started clicking all the other ones, they would all want to go to that top one, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And it wouldn't let you click on it wouldn't let you click on the 2 side ones because that's not the same
Wrong direction.
orientation.
Yeah.
It would let
Okay.
you tab select into a node maybe on the corner and allow it to move that. But it wouldn't just let you select those vertical lines. It would let you select the bottom one, but that's why the multiple alignment, we want to pull that off. So,
Yeah.
All right. So very good. Go ahead and make sure. Can you guys see my screen again?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Hold up. Let me get back to here. All right. How about now?
Nice filter, David.
Sweet. Too bad you're not talking. You're muted.
Oh, yeah. I was playing with my kids with this the other day.
That's pretty funny.
me see if I could get rid of that.
No, keep it. It's being recorded.
Well, it is being recorded.
All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and set that back to 5. And let's go ahead and click OK. All right, so let's go ahead and go. We have now built an extrusion that will move in the X and the Y plane, depending on the height, on the depth and the width that we give it, right? So we can control how this extrusion is moving. We're not just controlling it by clicking on it and like grabbing this, moving it left or right, or, you know, doing something. It's actually being controlled by parameters, right? All right, so let's go to the front view. Okay, it should look something like this. And I want to put in 2 more reference planes going from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So we'll put one of them right there and another one right underneath it. And let's go ahead and dimension between the 2 of them and dimension. And this time we want this in a separate string. So let's make sure that we dimension this in a second string. Dimension from the bottom of the 2 added reference planes back to your reference level. Okay, so we'll have 2 more reference planes from left to right, a dimension between the top 2, and a dimension between the bottom reference plane and your reference level. Everyone got that? Cool. All right, so what's next? No ideas?
Set the distance on them to whatever you tell us to.
Bingo. Okay. So last time, and right now we don't know, right now we're not necessarily setting a distance on this, right? What we're doing is we're setting a parameter that allows it to control a distance. Okay. So let's go ahead and click this one right here. This 0 to 6 inches on mine. I don't care. It could be, you know, a foot on yours, whatever it is, that's fine. And let's go ahead and click this little create parameter button. And we're going to create a parameter that says table top depth. Sorry, tabletop height. And we'll keep it as a type parameter. And then there's a couple ways that we can do this, and this is kind of up for discussion. So would you rather, if I wanted a table to be at 3.5 feet tall, would you rather say, hey, I want 3-foot legs and a 6-foot tabletop on it? Or sorry, a 6-inch tabletop. That'd be a huge tabletop. 6 feet, man. So do I want 3-foot legs and a 6-inch tabletop? Or do I want it to have a 6-inch tabletop height and I want to know the top of that table? Like I want to know exactly how, I don't want to have to add the legs and the height of the table. So I can do this 2 ways. You can do it by either building the legs and the tabletop height, or we can tell it what height we want to set the tabletop at, a depth to the, or a height to that tabletop, and let the remainder be the legs. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you're saying a total of 3 feet, including.
So what we're
tabletop.
gonna do, let's go ahead and let's do this. Let's take this top one, let's keep that right there. This bottom dimension, we can either edit the witness line and come up and unclick this bottom one and click the top one, or you can delete it and build a new one. But let's go ahead and build our second dimension off the top of that reference plane. And on this one, we're gonna put a label in or put a parameter in called table height. All right, has everyone got those 2 additional reference planes with the 2 dimensions and the 2 new parameters? All right. So let's go ahead and just check to make sure that everything's in here, right? Make sure that you've got all 4 of these. And let's go ahead and change the table height to like 6 feet. That seems to work. And let's change the tabletop height to 1 foot. That seemed to work as well. Okay, so let's make sure that both of yours did move the tabletop height up and then the table depth down or up, depending on if that needed to be more or less than 1 foot. All right, we got 2 more locks, and then we're going to be able to align in locks, and then we're going to be able to completely control where this tabletop goes in space. So let's use our align tool, and we're going to align the top reference plane, right? The one that's attached to both the tabletop height and the table height. And we're going to align that to the top of our extrusion, and that's going to make this extrusion 6 feet tall, and that's fine. Okay, we're going to lock that, and then we want to align the bottom reference plane, so the bottom tabletop height plane, to the bottom of your extrusion, and lock that. Once you've done both of those, hit escape a couple times and to exit the command. All right, so far so good. Has everyone got something that looks like this? Let's go back to our 3D view, just because I'm a big fan of testing and checking before we move on. Because if one of your locks doesn't work now and you continue to move on, it becomes a lot harder to troubleshoot what's going on down the road when we add a lot more reference planes. So right now it's simple. We're going to be adding a bunch more reference planes in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and check just to make sure. And just because it makes it nice and easy to check everything, go ahead and set your table. Go ahead and set everything 10 feet on your table depth, height, and width, and then 5 feet on your tabletop height. And click apply. You should see something giant like that, something big. That work for you guys? Okay. So if it didn't work, please chime in now. If it did, let's go ahead and set this back just so it's nice and even. Let's set the tabletop height to 5.
Yeah, so for some reason I have 2 heights. I don't know what I do.
We have tabletop height and table height.
Yeah.
Do you have
I
an
have
extra one?
Depth, height, top height, width, and then I had to do a second height for some reason because I messed up.
Okay, so then maybe, so you've got so you've got a secondary height.
Yep.
Did one of the heights not work?
Correct. And then I thought I removed it and then it didn't. I don't know. I feel like I should be able to troubleshoot this myself, but I'm not sure what's going on.
Well, we'll leave it for now and maybe we'll come back to it. It might be just one that you if you figure out which one's not working, like which one isn't fully attached, just once you figure that out, just come down here. They're not named the exact same. They should be close, but they can't be named the same. So if you can figure out which one that isn't actually attached and controlling one of the reference planes, you can click on that and then come down here and click this delete button and get rid of it.
Okay. All right, I'll work on it.
Got it. All right, so let's go ahead and set everything back to something nice and easy. So tabletop, table height 5 feet, tabletop height 4 inches, table depth will go 4 feet, and table width will go 4 feet. Okay, something like that. And let's go back to our reference level. So we're looking at it like this. All right. So we're going to be adding a bunch more planes, but to keep it nice and simple, we're going to add a few planes, set some dimensions, a few more planes, set some more dimensions, and build some geometry. Okay, so we're not going to just add a ton of planes and then try to fish through them for what we need. So one thing that is kind of cool, we're not going to do this tonight because I don't think we necessarily need to. But when I get into something that is super complex, I've got 20 plus planes on there. And sometimes it's kind of hard to tell exactly where things are, what's controlling what. You can actually name these reference planes if it helps. So you could name this, top right, or name this top plane, bottom plane, left, right, inside leg, outside leg, and whatever you need it to be. At this point, I don't think we need to name them. But that is an option down the line. If you ever wanted to name these planes, you can do that. So just for keeping it organized, it helps a little bit. All right, so we're going to build 4 more planes. All our planes that we're going to be building are inside. This is our exterior plane, right? So all of our planes are going to be inside of this. This is controlling the edge of the table. So our other planes are going to be inside that, right? So let's build another reference plane to the inside here, to the inside of this one, the inside of this one, and the inside of this one. All right. Everyone got a few more planes on there? All right. So I want to go ahead and take a dimension between these planes. So I like to do things on the left-hand side and the top side. If you start trying to put, like, if I dimension this here, right, and I'm just setting a dimension, and I'm coming around here, and I'll set a dimension, I'm coming around here, and I set another one. Once I hit this side, now I've got 2 dimensions that are controlling the same line. So to avoid that, I typically try to dimension all of my stuff on the left-hand side and the top side, just to avoid trying to over-constrain it with some extra dimensioning. So what I want to do is I want to set 4 dimensions. And just to make it easy for us, let's just click on the reference plane. It should activate one of your new dimensions. Let's click into there, and let's just go ahead and type in like 4 inches. And we'll make one of them nice and even at 4 inches. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to build one parameter for this one right here, and then apply that to these other ones as well. Okay. So let's go down to this 4-inch one that we set. Click up here and add a parameter. So we're going to create a parameter for this. And we're going to call this table tabletop overhang. Again, this will be type-based, dimension, family parameter. And it's set at 4 inches. I want to take the other 3, so you can click on one of these dimensions, hold Control down on your keyboard, and click the other 2. And since we want this to be the same parameter, we can come up here, and we've already created this parameter. We can actually just assign these a label. So we can come up here and click the drop down and come down here and assign this tabletop overhang. And it'll snap all of those to 4 inches.
Can you do that one more time, Graham?
Sure. All of it?
Well, I got the, it was to change the other 3 to match it.
Okay. So let's do, so here's your overhang, right? So you built this dimension, right? You built that parameter. Select, click 1, hold Control, right? So you can select multiple items. And then click this drop down. So instead of clicking the create new parameter, click the drop down since we already built this one and just assign it to the tabletop overhang. Cool.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, so we're going to be doing this a couple more times. So let's go ahead and build 4 more planes, exact same thing that we just did. On the inside of here. So 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Okay, so everyone we should have 7 reference planes in each direction, including the origin planes. Everyone have 7 planes. Okay, I'll assume that's a yes.
I'll be honest, no, but I'm along for the ride now. It's fine.
How far back are you? I mean,
I'm way far back, so it's fine. I'm not worried about it. I'll go back and watch.
okay. Well, so let's go ahead. We're almost done with this, to be honest. We've probably got another 20 minutes and we can probably wrap up this family. So maybe 40. We'll see. See how deep we want to go in depth. So let's go ahead and assign some more dimensions and some more parameters to these next areas. So we'll start with this one here. So from this, we'll call this the left 3, the right 3, the top 3, and the bottom 3. Okay, those are our plane areas. So from the middle of the left 3 to the right of the left 3. Okay, I want you to put a dimension from the left of the right 3 to the middle of the right 3, put a dimension. From the center of the top 3 to the bottom of the top 3, put a dimension. And from the center of the bottom 3 to the top of the bottom 3, let's put a dimension. All right. Does everyone have those, at least the ones that are still with us? So let's start down here with this one on the bottom left. And let's click on that dimension and create a parameter for it. And we're going to call this leg depth. And we can go ahead and click the next one up on the left-hand side and assign it to the same parameter. So leg depth. So since we've got our table depth going from the bottom to the top in this view, this is going to be our leg depth in the same direction, right? And then last but not least, we're going to go ahead and create a parameter for these and call it leg width. And we'll assign the other parameter to that as well, leg width. Once we are here, let me know. And don't worry about what your values are for your leg width and depth yet. We'll assign those in 1 second. So just to keep it simple, let's hit the 4 blue boxes and assign the leg width and the leg depth 4 inches. So our leg width, leg depth, and our overhang are all going to be 4 inches. 4 inches, thank you. All right, are we ready to build the legs? How many people have I lost?
I got stuck somewhere too.
Okay, so we got Diego, Kendall, maybe, and David's with us. Cool. All right. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do the same thing that we did for the tabletop. This time I want to just build one leg. We're going to build one leg. We're going to copy the leg 4 times, and then we're going to align and lock each one of our legs. Okay. We could do this with a 1-step process of like putting this in here from the beginning and locking as we go. However, like I said, I've run into issues in the past, and it just makes it a lot easier if we just try to all stay together, build the geometry inside, and then we will align and lock the geometry to the reference planes. So let's go ahead and create an extrusion. This one, let's go ahead and just build it from 0 to 2 feet to start with. So you'll see that it changes that depth up here to 2 feet. And I'm going to build one extrusion. We zoom into this top quadrant. I'm going to build one extrusion in the bottom right square. Okay, so this is going to be, and I don't want to hit the reference planes. I just want to build it something like this on the inside. Okay. And once I've done that, I want to go ahead and hit this checkbox. Once we've built this leg, let's go ahead and copy it. So if we use our copy command up here, or CO on our clipboard, and we use this intersection right here. So if I copy and I click this intersection, if my multiple button is on for this one, which this is one multiple button that I pretty much always leave on. It won't screw you up like the dimension multiple. we choose this intersection and have the multiple on, we can copy this one leg 3 times. 1, 2, and 3, and place one leg in each of the inside of these 4 squares. So right now the geometry is there, but nothing is locked to the planes yet. All right. So this next step is going to be a 16 align locks in a row. We can use our, AL command. Make sure that this multiple alignment is off. And we will just come here and start working our way around. So I will typically do, start with the top and work my way clockwise. And remember, we're gonna, where we want to go, where we want to align to, what we want to align and lock. Where, what, and lock. Where, what, and lock. Where, what, and lock. Now, without even leaving the command, we can zoom out and come over to this next leg and do the same thing. So where, what, lock. Where, what, lock. Where, what, lock. Where, what, and lock. So we've done it 8 times. Let's do it 4 more for this one and 4 more for this one. So and last leg for me. And once you've done that, we can hit escape twice and exit the command.
So Graham, I got a question. When my kids were bothering me, so we're fighting, and I had,
No worries.
when I went to do the extrusion, it made me do 4 lines to make a box.
That's fine.
Oh, that's fine. It doesn't just make a square box on its own.
It does. So when you built your extrusion, you did this. So create extrusion. This is how it starts as default. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Whatever. I should have drawn a square, but I didn't. Or you can, instead of having this one, you click the box next to it, and then you just build it. Right.
Doing it again.
Good.
And then we just we do the align and copy, or
no, we want to copy it first.
Okay.
We want to copy. So I'm going to go back. One thing that's kind of cool, just FYI for everybody, if you can go back, 1 step at a time. You can also hit this drop down and go back. And so I did 32 commands, right? Align and lock. And so I just went back 32 commands at once right there. So David, this is copied around. So I copied this by using my CO command, clicking this top intersection and with the multiple, and then just copying it around to these intersections, right? And then last but not least, let's use our align and lock. So align, 1, 2, lock. And so we're going to align all of these squares to their outside reference planes. Okay. That makes sense, David?
Sorry, I'm still trying to copy it. It's when I went to the extrude and I moved it to make a box, it still wants to select the lines individually. So as I'm
Okay.
trying to copy it, it's
So here, then let's do this. So let's delete your extrusion. I'm just gonna delete all this. We'll
Okay.
step back. All right. So zoom into one of your boxes, right? Top left quadrant up here, and we're gonna be in the bottom right of it.
okay.
Okay. Create extrusion. We're gonna go from 0 to 2 feet on the extrusion height.
That is, I don't have that. I think my properties is done.
Hit the checkbox, right click, and come down here and click properties. Right click anywhere in your white
Yeah,
space.
okay, I see it. Okay.
You get it back.
Yeah.
Okay. So create extrusion. Want to make sure it's going from 0 to 2 feet. If this is off, it doesn't matter. We'll align and lock it later, but this just gives us a baseline for a.
Dude, I am in class. You gotta.
David's having some kid issues, sounds like.
The joys of parenting. All right. You still with us, David? So
I go and select it, make it 2 feet, extrude 2 feet, and then
Yep.
0. And do I make the box now or?
now click this rectangle up here, draw. And then let's click your top left corner, and then click your bottom right, move it down, click your bottom right corner of it.
Okay.
And then go ahead and click this checkbox
Okay.
with a check mark.
You know, that's what I was forgetting to do. That's why I wasn't copying it.
There you go. You got to get out of the command. Yep.
Yeah.
So we've now built the extrusion. Now you can select the extrusion and copy with base point. So I copy from this intersection, and then we're going to bring it to the inside corner of each one of these quadrants, right? And then once you've got that, let's align and lock your legs. So we'll align, lock, and the lock, and then we'll do that. So it's 16 align locks, but it gives us complete control of what's going on.
Stop. I am in class.
And once we've aligned all those and locked them, you should be able to exit the command with 2 escapes. So let's go to the 3D view, and you should see something that looks something like this. Maybe you're in shaded and it looks, or consistent colors or something that looks something like that. So we're getting pretty close. We just need to attach our legs to our table and then build some types. So let's go to the front view. And this time we're gonna use our, is everyone still, David, you back with us? You good?
Yeah, I'm still aligning everything, but after hitting the check mark made the difference. So
Yes, it does. If you don't exit the command, and then what you're doing is you're just trying to move the extrusion lines around, and then, yeah, I gotcha. So let's come to our elevation view. Again, I use my front, and let's go ahead and use our align tool. And this time I want to come up and check this multiple alignment button. And I want to use this reference plane at the bottom. So this tabletop height. So the bottom reference plane of the tabletop height that is 4 inches below the table height. I want to use this as my where I want to align. And then I'm going to click each one of these legs. Now, since we're looking at it from a profile view, we have 2 legs stacked in front of each other. So you'll notice if I click this line once, it'll align that first one, and I'm going to lock it. And then we're going to do the same thing with this other line that shows up, which is the back leg, align that and lock it. And same thing with our right front, align and lock, and our back front, or sorry, our back right and align and lock, and hit escape. And if we go back to this 3D view, we should have something that somewhat resembles a table. Diego, how you doing? Kendall?
So now that this is, a part of our family, how do we make the different variances? So I watched a video today on, it was on doors. And you had one door that was like a normal front door, and then you had like a school door that had, the metal doors with the windows and stuff. Do we take this table now and make edits to it?
Perfect. You're going to see exactly what we're doing.
Oh, perfect.
Yep. You were one step ahead of me. But are you here? Is everything aligned and locked? Looking good?
No, but I am watching you.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, you can always go back. I'll post this video. So right now, let's go ahead, just because I want to make sure that all the legs are working. Just change the table height to like 4 feet, and it should drop my table height. The leg stayed and my depth stayed at 4 inches, but my legs shrunk. So here is exactly what you are talking about, Kendall. So right here, we have all of our different parameters, right? And this is going to control everything about our table, right? We've got our table depth, our table height, our tabletop height, right? So what the height is of just the top part of the table. What the overhang distance is, so how far these legs are inset from the edge of the table. The table width, the table depth, right? And then as well as the leg width and depth. So if I change, all these parameters, so like I could make this a 3 inch by 6 inch leg, okay? Make it look something funny like that. Okay, you can do whatever you want with it because we built the framework and the reference planes and locked all of our geometry to these parameters. So that way we can now modify this however we want. So with these being type-based parameters, okay, whatever I do here, obviously affects what I'm doing here. But I can build an actual type. So what I'm going to do is come up here and click this new type button, and I'm going to click and type in coffee table. And it's a coffee table. So I'm going to go ahead and set my table height to 2 feet tall. My table width to 4 feet. That sounds right. The table depth to 2 feet. I don't need giant legs. 3 inch legs are probably okay. Overhang on it. We'll make that a 3 inch overhang, and we'll also make the table top height 3 inches. And if I click apply, that now is turned into something that looks like a coffee table, right? Well, that's one type right there. Let's go ahead and click new type, and I'll create a dining table. And this dining table, maybe we'll make this a decent sized dining table. So maybe we'll make it like 6 feet by 4 feet. And we'll give it a 6-inch top. Oops, 6-inch top with a 4-inch overhang. And the table height will be 3.5 feet. And the legs, we'll make them 4 inches wide by 2.5 inches deep. And I can apply that. And here's my dining table. And so now I can toggle between the two of these. And all of my parameters will stretch and flex to take shape of whatever type I want. Any questions there? I know it's kind of a lot, but it was, I have to get through it before we can ask the questions to, to show what, did all that work for you, Diego? Nice. Sweet. So let's go ahead and build a nightstand is my next one. And I'll build this thing just a little, I don't know, 18-inch. 18-inch by 18-inch. We'll make it 3 feet tall. It's a nightstand. It doesn't need to really have any overhang. We'll leave that overhang at like a 1/2 inch. Tabletop height. We'll make it beefy. We'll make it like a 6-inch top. Maybe it's something crazy. And table height, leg width and depth, we'll make those some solid like 5-inch legs for this thing. It's a hefty nightstand. And table width will go 18 inches, not 18 feet, because that would be massive. And apply. And there we go, right? So you've got something with some super beefy legs. It's about the size of your nightstand, right? Maybe that overhang was, that 1/2 inch seemed kind of cool, but maybe I wanted 1 inch. Let's go ahead and make it 1 inch. Okay. So when I go to file, and I'm just going to go to new project. I know we could create a new one off our other one. We will eventually. But when I now load this project, cancel. I just want to load this in. When I now load this in, if I go to like a 3D view, let's go to here. And I'll take this table. And I'll take this one and I'll choose, instead of a coffee table, I'll make it a dining table. Now it changes to a dining table. Maybe that one I'll make a nightstand. So just like that, with being able to control the parameters and set all that framework up, I know it takes a while, but how versatile is this thing now, right? I can use this for everything, right? I mean, I control the overhang, I control the leg width and depth, the tabletop thickness, the tabletop height, right? So it takes a little bit of framework and time to set up, but you can continue to build types till you're blue in the face, right? I mean, of every different type of table, and you can probably build something, maybe I'll build the table that I'm sitting at right now, which is a metal, wood top with metal legs, and the legs are only like a 1 inch by 1 inch, right? So you could build a desk out of it, right? Whatever you want, right? Maybe we'll do that. Let's go back to here and let's look at a 3D view and let's build a desk. So, nope, make a new one, a desk. We'll build this. A leg, little 1 inch by 1 inch. Table depth, 2 feet. Table height, 3. Table top, about 1.5 inches. overhang about an inch, width 4 feet. So that's about the desk that I'm sitting at right now, and there you go. Something like that. So, what do you guys think of this? I mean, this is, to be honest, one of my favorite things about Revit, right? Because you can build something with some framework that then can be modified.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. So with that desk, right? Like, could you go in there and make the top of the desk like wood? Or would that need to be? Because I noticed that all the tables were kind of like of the same. Oh, so you click on the object and then change it in the little tab on the side.
You can create a material. Yeah, this doesn't have a bunch of defaults, and I'm.
No, you're fine. That it makes sense.
But yes, you can assign. Oh, here we go. Hold up. Oh, come on. Oh, hold up. Let's make sure it's in realistic. Oh, well, it didn't fully get set. Hold up. I do want to show you this though, because that's a great question, right?
So then you selected the top of the desk to go in here and then okay, I get it.
Right. I selected the piece of geometry that I wanted to change the material type on.
Okay.
So when I look in my 3D view, Graham, I got a wireframe instead of a table, so I
Okay.
could see all plane.
So change right here. There's this box that's got checkered, like a checkered flag. The one to the right of that, there will be a bunch of shaded, hidden line, wireframe,
Yeah.
realistic. You can change how it looks. So let's take this flooring appearance. Let's see if I can. There you go.
Very cool.
So
How did you get when you, I missed it when you put in, you were able to take in the tables and change it to one of the other tables. So it's just, you go back into your families, find your furniture.
I was in, this is in a project. I loaded these into a project.
Oh no, well, when earlier when you said, hey, yeah, that and that view.
This is
How
a
did you-
project. I dropped that family into a project. So go to file, new project, and just build a new project.
Okay.
Here, I'm just gonna close this. No, I don't care. So file, new project. I don't care where it comes from. You don't need your template tonight. Once you're here, let's go back to that other, to your other 3D view or any of these other views, it doesn't matter, and load into project. And now it'll allow me to drop one of those in plan view. And so I just dropped like 3 of the same one. And then when you click on it, this in the properties, this now becomes a drop down, and I can change that to a desk, or I could change this to a nightstand, and that will change the type properties on all of these.
So you can, is this because you had us doing not a project from the start? The reason why, because it's, these tabs where it says the reference level, view 1, front, level 1, left, and all your 3D stuff.
Right.
I'm used to that all being one file. So you could have multiple files open up on this tab. Oh, that can be confusing as hell.
So here is what you do though. So I typically will have, I might have multiple families I'm working on open, right? But I'm only gonna have one project I'm opened on in a session. If I'm working on 2 separate projects, so here's my Revit right now. If I've got 2 separate projects, like this one, here's my Microsoft projects open in one session of Revit, and my Artis Bellevue project is open in another session, completely separate sessions of Revit. I could open them in the same session, but you're right, that gets mass confusing, right? But in order to load the family in and still be in the editor, you have to be in the same session of Revit. Otherwise, you can just load in. Otherwise, you can build it, save it, and then just come into your project and load it like normal. And go up to go to insert and then load family, and we could go browse for it and all of that. But if you're in the same session, you can just use that little quick shortcut to load into project. Any other questions? This is kind of where I was stopping for the night. It's a lot to cover, I know. And I will post this. I'll post this recording. So we'll get this posted and we can definitely use it. If you use two instances of one of two different types of tables in your final project, you will be able to get a point a piece for extra credit. So FYI, when you're looking for furniture and stuff to put in your project, maybe come back and snag one of these. They'll be worth some points.
When we load, when you had me go back to one of my other screens and load into project, and it loaded into the project, if I was to edit it in the project, would it go back to the original where I drew it and change the parameters of that too?
Yes.
Okay. And if I have two dining room tables, and I want to make one a little bit longer and I change one, will that change both of them? Or
so right now with type-based parameters, yes. So you would want to do one of them as like, here's my dining table here. So if you wanted like a longer dining room table, let's just go to here.
it just seemed like it'd be easier just to name another table and say long table, and then
Exactly. Build a new, like that, right? Build a new one, if these weren't type parameters, okay? And if it's not a type parameter, everything is a manual entry, okay? I don't have control like this. But if there was instance-based parameters, I could have a dining table and I could be setting every one of these parameters individually per dining table. Instead of them all being together, they're all individual parameters, so they wouldn't control each other. Does that make sense? So typically with stuff like this, I'm going to leave it as a type. And if I need a bigger type without affecting another one, I'll build a light fixture 2 foot and a light fixture 4 foot and a light fixture 7 foot. Or if it's a cove light that I don't care what the light fixture is, the length is, that it's just going to come as a strip light and they're going to cut the tape light down in the field, I'll just make that an instance and drag that whatever distance I need it. Instead of building 15 different lengths, I'll just build one that I can stretch at every different time. Does that make sense? Just because I don't want to build like 20 different lengths for each one if I don't know exactly what the length is, because a lot of times those cove lights and stuff are just whatever the length of the wall is. They're not like a 2 foot or 4 foot fixture. So, but if I build an item, I typically try to build it type based. So that way I can come back here and control everything. If a parameter is instance based, just FYI, and I make this instance based, it will show up right here with the little word default. So I'm going to save this as my table for tonight, post this video, and I'll see you all next week.
good one.
Great. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.